Hey everybody, this is the Bitcoin Doctor, and I just want to put out a quick video to introduce new people to the concept of HEX. HEX is a cryptocurrency on the Ethereum blockchain. This video does assume that you already know a little bit about cryptocurrency. I won't go too far in assuming your knowledge, but you're going to have to know the basics to really get full value from this video, because I want it to be short and really cover the highlights for those people that have crypto already and they want to find a better crypto among the thousands of cryptos that are already out there. So without further ado, welcome to the party. Again, my name is Joe Terry. I am the Bitcoin Doctor, and we're going to get started. I am going to run through a very quick synopsis of, cryptocurrency and what could possibly make a high performance coin, because that's the number one goal of HEX is to grow in value. This is not a Ponzi scheme. This is not a pump and dump. This is a pump without the dump. This is an attempt designed by Richard Hart. This is an attempt to create a cryptocurrency that rises in value and rises in value and pauses and then rises in value, essentially for the rest of your life. That's what it's designed for. We'll see. But let's start with what we see in front of us. What we see in front of us is what I call the cryptocurrency iceberg. And the cryptocurrency iceberg is really how I form my introduction to cryptocurrency for beginners and for experienced people. This is going to be a short video, and let's get started. Bitcoin was first. Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency, born in 2009. Actually, Satoshi Nakamoto, an unknown group or individual, published the white paper on Bitcoin on October 31st, Halloween of 2008. So it is much more of a mystery what Bitcoin is and where it comes from than most people who have no prior history with cryptocurrency can believe. We don't even know who started it, who wrote the first software, but it is a powerful thing. Cryptocurrency in general, Bitcoin in particular, is a trustless, permissionless store of value. First for thousands of a penny, and now for, I think the latest that I saw was Bitcoin was in the 9,500 range, closing in on 10,000 a Bitcoin. But you can exchange a Bitcoin from me to you or from you to me, and I can be assured that its value will be somewhat stable. And I don't need a government telling me that that's true. I don't need any individual, any army, or any power on earth telling me that's true. This is secured by mathematics, by cryptography. That was Bitcoin. And then, let's just talk really about only two basics of cryptocurrency that kind of set the scene. You might have heard that you can have a private key and that your private key is secure. But you might wonder, why is it secure? Why is it that some government couldn't just guess your private key and take your money? Or guess all the private keys and take everyone's money? Well, do you see my screen here? Do you see that number? It's 2 to the 256th power. And if you have any question about how big that number is, let me just tell you, it's a figment of the human imagination. Now, we could have said it was 2 to the 10,000th place or 2 to the 1 millionth place, but you don't have to go very much farther than 2 to the 256th place, because that number is larger than the number of grains of sand on our planet, or the number of grains of sand on every planet. Do you hear me? This number that you're looking at is larger than the number of atoms in the universe, the known universe. And let's say every atom is made up of, I don't know, billions or trillions of subatomic particles. This number in front of you is bigger than all of the subatomic particles in every atom in the known universe. Just because humans can, just because humans have the imagination to create systems like mathematics, we have things like this. This number, well, okay, how does this relate to Bitcoin cryptocurrency? Basically, your private key is a random number from 1 to this number. Your private key is a random number in a space, a mathematical space, so large that searching for it is impossible. That searching for it is infeasible. That's what a Bitcoin private key and every other private key and every other cryptocurrency means. It's just a number. I could guess your private key and take all your money, but it would take billions of years potentially, and I wouldn't really know if I'd gotten it, and I'm not going to live that long. So okay, so that's big numbers. Well, what about small numbers? I mean, this is the thing. Humans can't imagine or function with numbers as large as 2 to the 256 power. Humans also can't function with really small numbers. They're just incapable. We don't have the skills. Mathematicians may, imaginative, creative people may, but the average person has no clue. So let's just talk about this. You know, this is the thing, the magic. You may have heard of penny stocks, okay? Penny stocks are small cap stocks, micro cap stocks, they're even called. Very, very small numbers. A stock worth $1,000 and has 10 million shares outstanding or something stupid like that, right? Well, cryptocurrency does this all the time. Let's say you had a crypto that was worth a millionth of a dollar. Each coin in, I don't know, Bob, Harry's cryptocurrency, Sally, Janiqua's cryptocurrency, each coin in her cryptocurrency was worth a millionth of a dollar. Well, great. And there's, I don't know, 100 million of these coins outstanding, let's say. Whatever. Cool. And let's say in that particular cryptocurrency, that particular project, coins are never emitted. That is, there is no inflation rate. There are 100 million coins created at birth, called the Genesis block, and they're each worth 1 millionth of a dollar. Cool. Now, what if you owned one coin, and that coin grew by 100,000%? You own one coin, and that coin grew to 100,000%. Well, that's fantastic. How much would you own? Well, you'd own 1/10,000th of a penny. Do you see that? 1/10,000th of a penny. It's hard to even say. So let's say you had a dollar of those coins. Remember, they were worth a millionth of a dollar, but you have a dollar's worth. Hey, that means you have a million coins. You had $1 worth of Harry or Janiqua or Bob's coin, $1 worth, and they were worth a millionth of a coin, and they grew in value by 100,000%. Well, now you have $1,000. Yes, you do. Let's say you own $10 worth of this amazing cryptocurrency. Well, $10, 100,000%. Now you own $10,000. $10,000. Yeah. Let's say you had $100 of this coin that was worth a millionth of a dollar. It grew 100,000%. Now you have $100,000. You had $100. Now you have $100,000. But what if you went crazy and you had $1,000 of this coin that was worth a millionth of a dollar, and it grew 100,000%? Well, now you have $1,000,000. $1,000 you invested. Now your investment is worth $1,000,000. Bitcoin grew by millions of percent, not 100,000%, millions of percent in the last 10, almost 11 years. Do you hear me? Okay, let's just go on. That's the law of small numbers and big numbers. Sorry. That's the law of small numbers and big numbers. Excellent. Okay, so we are not going to go any farther into things like the global nature of cryptocurrency and digital currency wallets, and decentralized finance. HEX is a member of decentralized finance because these excellent companies provide interest on the cryptos that you own. That you send them to them, they hold them, and they give you interest. Now, what that has introduced is what's called third-party or counterparty risk. When you send your coins to Celsius or Uphold for them to hold and give you interest, well, you have a certain risk. The risk is, what if Celsius or Uphold go out of business? That's called counterparty risk. Well, with HEX, you don't even need to deal with counterparty risk. So let's get into it. What is HEX? HEX is the first high-interest blockchain certificate of deposit. First high-interest blockchain certificate of deposit. HEX is designed to go higher, faster, and retain its value better than any cryptocurrency ever, which means faster, higher, better than any asset in the history of mankind, because cryptocurrencies are, as an asset, have grown faster, higher, and better than any asset in the history of mankind. HEX has what's called price-positive game theory. Price-positive game theory, or in the vernacular, what we say is it's got excellent pumpamentals. Fundamentals designed to pump the price without the dump at some point in the future. This is not a Ponzi scheme. This is not a pump and dump scheme. This is a pump without the dump. You see that hex.bitcoin-doctor.com, hex.bitcoin-doctor.com. Don't forget that. That's the referral link. You can also do buy HEX, B-U-Y hex.bitcoin-doctor.com. We'll talk about that more. And, Bitcoin as a payment network doesn't work that well. Yeah, the number one use case for Bitcoin is censorship resistance. That's the number one use case for people to buy drugs and sex and, who knows, slaves and whatever else they want to buy on the darknet. But Bitcoin is not even good at that. Monero is much better, much more private coin that cannot be traced back to you. But Bitcoin is not even good at that. It is designed as a payment network to be censorship resistant. That is, no one can say no. You send $1 million to someone, No one on earth, not even Donald J. Trump, can stop that transaction from starting and from completing. So if Bitcoin is slow and, you know, its only real value is censorship resistance, why is it rising in value? Well, you know, as a store of value, Bitcoin is doing pretty damn well. Started in the, you know, zero, and now it's almost $10,000 in just 10 years. You can't compare that to any other uh, asset class. It's simply incomparable. HEX is going to revolutionize finance. Every single function that banks serve today must be replaced by a peer-to-peer, open-source, trustless system. No middlemen. Bitcoin started the revolution as a trustless, immutable, distributed, peer-to-peer digital currency. But if you think about it, what are the most popular financial tools? What are the most popular financial tools uh, in the financial world? Well, savings accounts, banking accounts, savings accounts, checking accounts, and CDs, certificates of deposit. Certificates of deposit, CDs, are worth more than all the cash printed, gold outstanding that has been dug up out of the ground, and credit card companies combined. 7.2 plus 8, 9 trillion, depending on the market and depending on the day. CDs are worth over $7 trillion in the US and China alone. $7 trillion in the US and China alone. We haven't even discussed the rest of the world. India, Asia in general, outside of China, uh, you know, the Middle East, all that oil. We haven't even talked about that, but you know, Hexes has two strategies. One is Hex is designed to rise in value. So one of the keys is that it uses the key tools that all the scams, the Ponzi schemes, and the pump and dump schemes use. It uses those tools to its own effects and advantages. But Hex is not a Ponzi, not a pump and dump scheme. But Hex uses those tools. One of the tools is referral fees. If you go to bitcoin-doctor.com, HEX, or buy HEX, B-U-Y HEX, .bitcoin-doctor.com, and you transform Ethereum into HEX, you'll get 10% bonus. And I get a little something. So that's a good thing. Why is that bad? That's not bad. It's a good thing. It's marketing. It's strategy to, and this is going to be true until November 19th, 2020. We call that Big Payday, BPD, Big Payday. If you had a stake, or as it's called, a stake, so you can take an amount of HEX and you can stake it for 1 day or for 5,000 days, and depending on how long and how big a stake it is, you get interest, and that's a good thing. And depending on how long you stake it, at the end, you actually have to claim it at the end. It just doesn't automatically jump back into your wallet. You have to actually click a button, and each week, the Bitcoin holders. Now, this is talking about BTC holders who can free claim Bitcoin. Anyone who owned Bitcoin, BTC, as of December 2nd, approximately 2019, the beginning of HEX, can claim 10,000 HEX per one Bitcoin that they own, or any fraction thereof, right? If you have a half a Bitcoin, then you can claim 5,000 HEX. Bottom line is, each week that people delay in doing that, starting in December we're almost half a year in. Each week, those Bitcoin holders don't claim, they lose 2% of it to existing stakers. These are all strategies to encourage people to get involved, right? 1 to 10,000 Bitcoin claims, 1,000 to 10,000 BTC claim penalties of 50 to 75% of their HEX go to stakers. Basically, you can't claim 1,000 Bitcoin. You have to claim 999 or less to get the full impact. You can take 5,000 Bitcoin, divide it up into 5 wallets, and then claim 5 times at 999.999 Bitcoin to get the full value of the HEX for that Bitcoin. But you can't claim at 1,000 or greater, and over 10,000, forget it. That's not allowed. So this is all, again, strategies to force people that are whales in the Bitcoin world to, we want you to come in and claim your HEX, but you can't just come in and take over. You can't just come in and wipe the floor with everyone else. Does that make sense? Multi-sig can't claim. That means exchanges, people that own Bitcoin wallets that have multiple signatures that are required to spend that Bitcoin, which is what is true of exchanges generally. It's a security feature in Bitcoin and other blockchains. They can't claim. And Mt. Gox, a famous Bitcoin exchange that went down in 2013 to a huge hack, and those Bitcoin have now been somewhat recovered and are being managed by a trustee in Japan. But those 137,000 BTC cannot be claimed because they were obtained, as many people believe, through a process that was not fair. First, there was a hack, and that's fine. Money loss, that's one thing. And then the Japanese were able to recover, as you can see, 137,000. And now those are being metered out, basically dumped on the heads of other Bitcoin holders on a regular basis. What does that mean? That means whales, including Mt. Gox trustee, control the market. When they want to drive the market down, drop a few thousand Bitcoin on the market. That'll cool it down. So that's how they, among other ways, control the Bitcoin market. Eventually, that'll be done, but it won't affect HEX. And so, permanent staking bonuses. Okay, so this is what's going to be true after November 19, 2020. Bigger pays better, up to 10% bonus shares at 150 million HEX staked. If 1% of the HEX supply stakes, the average interest is 369% annualized APR. If 2%, 184.5%. What does this mean? If 10%, 36.9%. Fewer stakers means higher interest. The more people of the total circulating supply, the higher percentage of that is staked, then the lower the percentage that is paid to stakers, but the higher the price will pump. Supply and demand. Longer pays better. The longer you stake, the more you make. Up to 3 times the shares on a 3,600 day stake. 3,600 days, that's like 10 years. You stake for that long, you're going to 3x your money. Now, is it worth waiting that long? I don't know. Maybe it is. If you've got, 10 times that amount, put some of it aside, get a big bonus in 10 years, put some more of it aside, get a big bonus in 5 years, put some more of it aside, get a big bonus in 1 year, and keep the rest liquid or whatever. Ending a stake to reinvest its yield never pays more HEX than having a longer stake. So bottom line is just sort of staking for one day, then restaking for one day, then restaking for one day, then restaking for one day. The system is designed that that will not be better than staking for 3 days. Or doing that 100 times is not better than staking for 100 days, and so forth and so on. 50 and the reason is because and how is that true? Well, when you create a stake, your HEX is converted into what are called shares. And those shares continually drop in value as they, from beginning of time, December 2nd, 2019, for the rest of the life of HEX. See, this is programmable money. So in other words, the incentive to stake longer is built into the system rather than you staking one day, one day, one day, one day. It's better to stake 10 days or a year or 15 years rather than 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, and so forth. Because the system is designed to reward you for staking at the beginning for longer. 50% of emergency end stake penalties. Well, bottom line is if you're going to stake for 100 days and you end the stake after 50 days, you'll get most of your money back, but 50 days, you're just on the edge. You're going to be potentially eating into your principal because you didn't go the distance. If you won't go the distance, let's say you're staking for 100 days, then the rest of the market has future visibility into when that HEX is going to be dumped potentially on the market. It's all about being able to predict future visibility into the market supply. That's what allows coins to pump in value, rather than markets where we don't know one day to the next in Bitcoin when some whale like Mt. Gox is going to dump a bunch of coins. This creates uncertainty, and HEX is designed to reduce that uncertainty. So, you know, these are all details, but the bottom line is we know that HEX was designed to pump in value without the dump. Pump without the dump. So you say, well, this all sounds good. You've gone through a lot of things. Let me cover some more things here. The best thing a crypto can do, answer, go up in value. Gold is not going up from where it is now 10x in probably a long time, longer than you want to wait, because its economic mass is already $7 trillion gold. What about cryptos in general? What about HEX? Many of them will go up 10 times in value in the next few months, few years, whatever. Does that make cryptos better than gold? It depends. Do you want to make money? People will crypto. How can you build a better Bitcoin? That's what HEX is trying to do. How can you build a better Bitcoin? How can you build a better appreciating asset? To ensure that people with cryptos will buy it. People with Bitcoin as of December 2nd, 2019 can claim HEX, that claiming process. There are no miners. HEX is based on the Ethereum network. It's not based on its own network. So we only pay transaction fees to buy and sell HEX. We don't pay miners their blood money in terms of creating new tokens or creating new blocks. HEX, the smart contract HEX creates the new tokens, emits new tokens when you transform Ethereum into HEX. And that transformation is how new HEX come into being. But we don't have miners. Top three favorite financial instruments, I think I covered that: savings accounts, checking accounts, and CDs. And then the smart contract that is HEX on the Ethereum network has had 3 different audits, 2 security audits and an economic feasibility study. 3 audits by reputable auditors of smart contracts, paid audits. Um, the smart contract is final. It is also immortal. It cannot be stopped. No one on earth can stop the contract running on the Ethereum network. That's kind of the uh, attractiveness of crypto. It's immutable, cannot be changed by no one on earth. Not by the creator, Richard Hart, or anyone else. Not by any government, not by Donald Trump. And it's global. You could be on a beach or in some other country managing your assets, and no one can stop you. Although they can, cut off the power, they can cut off the internet, but otherwise, they cannot stop you if they cannot stop Ethereum. And Ethereum is highly decentralized and very, very difficult to stop. That's the key. That's the strategy. So look at this. This is HEX in 120 days and Bitcoin in 1,000 days. HEX going up 93 times and Bitcoin going up 92 times. So they went up in value a similar amount, but it took Bitcoin 1,000 days. It took HEX 120 days. What does that mean for the next 1,000 days? It's pretty simple. HEX will, according to design, outperform Bitcoin by many orders of magnitude over the next 1,000 days. Let's just put it in that context. I want you to be able to pause the video, go back and forth, and look over this this illustration here, and while you're there looking over it, I'm going to change it because I got another one I want you to look at. And hold on, I gotta change this aspect ratio on this one. Hold on, sorry about that. Oh, okay. Now, this is the top cryptos in 2020. HEX, Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Bitcoin SV, EOS, Binance, Tezos, Stellar. There are thousands of coins, but these are some of the big ones. Bitcoin SV doubled in value, 120%. Bitcoin went up 39% in comparison to the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, which fell considerably in 2020 because of COVID-19, right? HEX, 6,800% rise, 6,800% rise. January 1st through May 8th. That's pretty fair. Pretty fair. Pretty fair. Other than discussing the obvious, that brings us to the end. What else is there? What else is there? Bitcoin is currently, as I recall, Bitcoin is currently at, I'm not Bitcoin, I'm sorry, who cares about Bitcoin? Bitcoin's like $9,500, just shy of 10,000. But HEX is just about half a penny right now. HEX is just about half a penny right now. I want you to, as of the recording of this video, it's just over half a penny. I think it's 63 thousandths of a penny, meaning it's going to be 100,000th of a penny. 63, I think it's 63 thousandths of a penny, 63 hundredths of a penny. It's going to be 100 hundredths of a penny, or something like that. It's going to be a half a penny. It's over half a penny. It's going to be a penny soon. That's right. It's 63 hundredths of a penny, and it's going to be 100 hundredths of a penny really soon. It's going to be a penny very shortly. You can watch from the moment if this video is getting to you in close to May 14th, 2020, then you should be watching the rise of HEX from a half a penny, or 63 hundredths of a penny, to 100 hundredths of a penny. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Good old Mr. Lincoln. Now, you can find out more by contacting me. Contact the person that you got this video from, or wherever you got it, and get in touch with me. You can go to buyhex.bitcoin-doctor.com and transform some Ethereum into HEX and get a 10% bonus. That's my gift to you. There's a lot more to say. Get in touch with me if you have any questions. I don't want to make this too long. Talk to you soon. Bye.